Hello everyone, welcome back into North of 7 Cards. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram, North of 7 Cards, and on eBay, North-of-7. Today we've got for you the 2024 Topps Chrome Baseball Value. This is break number 38. 40 boxes in here. Let us know in the chat, who are we looking for today? So you can see a lot of pink, a lot of sepia. We got our 40 there. And we got our boxes. We're gonna go 5 boxes at a time. And while I do that, I'll give you pros and cons to each. Excuse me. Pros and cons to each possible World Series contender, especially with this race so close for even just the best record in the regular season. There's really nine teams that you can. I don't know. The list might even be smaller who you can seriously consider, but I think in this weird of a year, I think we got to expand that list and see who could come out, who could be, the surprise team, who could be the Diamondbacks of last year, or actually both teams that made the World Series, the Rangers and the Diamondbacks, both went on pretty crazy runs. I feel like we could see something very similar to that. So the first is actually going to be a group of 2 because again, I stuck 9 teams into the 8. We're gonna do them together because I have more doubts than confidence. So it starts with Cleveland and Milwaukee. Those are the first 2 teams I think of. Cleveland under Stephen Vogt kind of come back to life this year. Seems like they're gonna hold off both Kansas City and Minnesota. And really, it's the re-emergence of Stephen Kwan. Josh Naylor is still absolutely incredible. Those are the pros. They have good pieces, good players. The downside is kind of just who are they going to beat? Like, it's just, you're looking at it, they are the top of the AL. There's no denying that one. But, come playoff time, especially I think of their pitching. They have Clase, who's obviously incredible, shutdown, all that kind of stuff. Who else is gonna, help that, be a part of that pitching, staff group come the playoffs? Because it is kind of just, and it is the ragtag group, nobody believes in us, all that kind of stuff. That's just how I view Cleveland. I think the ragtag group can only do so much when the likes of the Orioles and the Yankees, Orioles, Astros. I just think those three teams, they're going to have to go through at minimum one of them. And I just don't know if I see that happening. I think Milwaukee falls into pretty much the same boat on the NL side. Like, yeah, they're pretty good. They got, Yelich out for the year is definitely, no pun intended, a backbreaker. Like, that's a really big blow to that team. But then you still got the young guys, still got Chourio. Like, there's still the potential. And it's kind of a team that it looks like they had given up. And now they're still leading that division. Like, they got rid of Hader, they got rid of Corbin Burns. They lost Woodruff for the year. Like, it just kind of seemed like they had every excuse to be bad. But again, it's the other teams we're going to talk about. It's the Dodgers. It's the the Phillies. Even in the wild card round, they're going to have to host. I mean, they might get lucky and get the Braves. It's probably going to be the Braves or the Mets. But even then, in those 3-game series, it's not the best team that wins. It's just who's playing the best at that time. They ran into it in Arizona last year. Who's to say it's not going to happen again? So those are kind of I would consider them, even though, again, they could finish with the best record in the league in the regular season. But I just think come playoff time, I just don't know if either of them have that, it factor or the big superstar that's going to take over. Like, it is both very well-run teams, both, I would say, surprising teams this year. But can they compete with the big boys? Because that's kind of what the rest of these teams are. They are the superstar-laden, major playoff experience. Like, again, Cleveland's got some. Milwaukee, Cleveland, kind of in the same. Well, at least for the younger guys, got some experience, but still nothing too crazy. This is our first 5 boxes. See, 2 sepia, 2 pink per box. There we go. Good luck, everyone. Nick Lofton, Nick Castellanos, Heston Kierstead, Jordan Lawler, Kyle Harrison, Yoendrys Gomez, Josh Hader there with the sepia, Jackson Holliday, Junior Caminero, Alika Williams, Nick Gonzalez, Sonny Gray, Soto, All Etch, Arenado, Pete Alonso, Langford, Tovar, Noel V. Marte, Yu Darvish, Jacob deGrom, Julio Rodriguez, Jose Rodriguez, Shane Bieber, Ellie De La Cruz, sepia Matt Chapman, Corey Seager-Raywave, Corinne Priester, Jacob deGrom, Jason Dominguez, Cody Funderburk, Kyber Ruiz, Curtis Mead, Matt Chapman, Verlander All Etch, Yelich, Yuki Matsui, Lipschitz, Rizzo, Walker All Etch, Soderstrom, Yuki Matsui, Smith Shawver, Numbered auto for Isaiah Campbell. That is 64 of 150 for Isaiah Campbell. Tyler Cropley, Aaron Judge, Fractor, Evan Carter, O'Neal Cruz, Ian Happ, Giancarlo Stanton, Justin Martinez, Jake Berger, Byron Buxton, Jordan Lawler, Story Ruiz, Kyron Paris, Shea Langoliers, Matt McLean, and Zach Wheeler with the sepia. Go the next 5. I guess we'll go least confident to most confident. I'm going to go the San Diego Padres for this next one. Now again, it's a team who you don't... It's not like expectations were high. They traded Juan Soto. I don't even know how Michael King is doing that. He was even... I can't remember the last time I saw him pitch. You know, they brought in Matsui. They let Hader go. Wild card Padres. For sure. For sure they're a wild card. I think it is a really fascinating team. I think in their X factors, Jackson Merrill. How big of an impact can this guy make? Like, he clearly is here to stay. You like him, Chris? Hey, I see it. I see it. It makes sense to me. They're the last team like the Brewers would want to see. I don't think they're gonna have to play the Brewers. I think it'll be like Padres Diamondbacks most likely in that 3-game series. And I don't know, it's too close to say if it'll be in San Diego or not. Even if they're in Arizona, I think the Padres are kind of, again, they are a tier above those other two, the first two, the Cleveland-Milwaukee group. But they feel just as, like, not power, like, again, not like the power of friendship or whatever, because it sounds slightly condescending, but they are, like, the pitching is incredible. Cease, Musgrove, Darvish, like, that rotation is really good. The lineup is by no means bad. Like, I feel like everyone, sometimes even myself, forgets that they have Luis Arias. Like, it is a team that just kind of makes sense. Like, I know Bogarts isn't what he like was going to be. Hassan Kim, Machado, Cronenworth, like you kind of know, they kind of know what they are, and it's not the crazy expensive team. Like they have Tatis, they've got the, you know, the marketable superstar, but it's not like everyone's talking about the Padres. I think people are kind of forgetting about how good they were. I know, again, you get rid of Soto and Hader, and you're losing pieces. Again, it's not like Hader is who he was in Milwaukee, but it's still recognizable names that they've lost. But, like, they're, again, you throw Luis Arias in that lineup, and there's kind of a lot that can happen. There's, I don't even want to say less pressure on a guy like Arias, but San Diego doesn't have those, like, expectations. But yeah, kind of just collapsed. But I do think they're a scary team. I mean, just think of this scenario. The Padres are going in, it's Game 5 of the NLDS, and they're going into Los Angeles. They're playing the Dodgers in LA. Who's going to be, like, again, that's the matchup I would love to see if it can work out that way, NLDS. Well, really anybody to face the Dodgers is just kind of a scary thought for the Dodgers because they got pressure. It's gonna be a night game. Like I could just picture it. I could see it. You know, hard fought, back and forth series, and it comes down to that one game. And in that one game, all of the pressure will be on the Dodgers. Like, I'll get to the Dodgers because they are one of the World Series favorites, as they should be, but the Padres, honestly, any NL team the Dodgers should be scared of. But just the Padres and Diamondbacks, they see them so much. Like, they see each other so much. They know each other so well at this point. It'll be interesting to see what this stretch run is going to tell us so much, because everyone's so close and it's so even, that this more than ever, this end of August, early September, it's going to tell us a lot about these teams. Like, it's going to be what we're going to have to base playoff predictions off of, because it's not like there's this, again, no team, at least a few days ago, I don't know if that's changed, that no one was on pace for 100 wins. Like, that's such a fun but weird and fascinating season. So I do. Yeah, Chris thinks they're a wild card. They're sneaky. I definitely think teams would be scared of seeing them, because it almost falls into the category of those first two teams I mentioned, of where the expectations, where is the... Like, I don't think the Padres are going to be scared. Like, there's nothing that tells me they're not prepared to go into LA or Philly or wherever they have to go, Milwaukee, to get far. Is it a World Series team? That's maybe where I'm, unless things are kind of breaking right for them. But then again, what is breaking right? Who do the Padres not want to see? Like the Phillies, I guess. But all these teams are good. Like, it's playoff time. It's not like you're going to see a bad team. Yeah, Story, Jason Dominguez, Musgrove, Monway Jr. I got Noel V. Marte, 102 of 275. Right for Marte. Got Hunter Goodman, Coco Montes, Pete Crow Armstrong, Shota Imanaga, there's Soler, Josh Young, Tyler Fitzgerald, Paul Goldschmidt, Alexander Canario, Nolan Arenado, Jackson Merrill with the pink, Carson Spears, Gavin Williams, Shohei Al-Etch, Josh Hader, Darvish Raywave Pereira, Jake Berger, Verlander Al-Etch, Alan Winans, Wells, Cabbage, Kershaw, Brian Reynolds, Joe Musgrove, Shohei with the sepia, Jason Dominguez, MJ Melendez, Canzone, Bieber, Nola, McCutcheon, Irving Lopez, Mookie Betts, got the sepia, CJ Abrams, Salvador Perez, Jackson Churio, Cade Marlowe, sepia Eovaldi, Jordan Lawler, and an Ellie. We got Charlie Blackmon, Rayway Brian Reynolds, Colt Keith, Corbin Carroll, sepia Buxton, David Bednar, Emerson Hancock, they're the pink. Walter, Canario, Kirilloff, sepia, Juan Soto, Rutledge, Rosarena, Pepio, and Chris Murphy. Alright, these next 5 going to be revolved around the Houston Astros. Now, they lost Jose Abreu. Or, I don't know, Jose Abreu was just kind of a nothing. So that first base, John Singleton kind of tried to make a work spot. Still got that core. You still got Altuve and Bregman. Jeremy Pena's honestly never been the same since the World Series MVP, but it's kind of, not that he gets to ride that for a while, but he's still a talented team. Yordan Alvarez, like, I don't care if the guy is terrible all regular season. He's not. He's still very good, but come playoff time, he is just different. He's someone that, I mean, obviously it's a smaller sample size to say he gets better, but he just, it seems like every playoff run he just comes up in the big spot and always has that clutch hit. Like he's just become that, I don't want to say he's George Springer, but he does always come up in those big moments. And, you know, the pitching, they're getting Verlander, at Blanco, Valdez, Javier, like it's still the same group that we've always seen. And every year feels like the year they're going to fall off, and then they just don't. They added Yusei Kikuchi. It's a good, you know, depth arm. That guy's not going to be starting an elimination game. He might actually. I mean, could be involved in an elimination game. Just the Astros, when I think of them, I just think pedigree. And I think anytime you doubt them, they always come back. They're always there. They're always looming, and it's just like, again, it's not a like statistics based thing. It's just, oh, Verlander's coming back, and here's Ronald Blanco. I mean, throws the no hitter, perfect game, one of the two. It's just it's the boogeyman. It's any team in the AL, as good as you think they are, the back of your mind, even if you don't want to think it, you have to go. You're going through the Astros, or someone is taking out the Astros for you. It's still that team that holds such high regard, which they deserve. Again, we're 2 years removed from them winning a World Series with this like new kind of nucleus. I can't even talk about Kyle Tucker. I think Kyle Tucker is just one of the most underrated hitters of baseball because he plays on a team with Yordan Alvarez, so we don't necessarily talk about him as much. Yeah, they pull it out of nowhere. Like, who's going to be shocked if, Josh Hader just, you know, he figured it out for the playoffs. Like, he remembered how to pitch and be, you know, lights out that he was. Ryan Presley, Montero, they have the arms to get through it. And, yeah, they can put it together any which way. There's kind of no way that team can't play. I felt like I kind of burned, not a lot, but it was just, I'll never, as much as I want to, and, you know, people will still hate on them for the 2017 thing, even though, you know, the core of that isn't there anymore, but it's still something that, you know, Bregman and Altuve are still there. Verlander came back, like, it's, enough of the pieces are there, and Altuve kind of was the guy that, I don't want to say got blamed, but he definitely was taken as a big part of it, big mischief or whatever, and he had the wire thing, that was the tattoo. I hope people are just kind of, I don't want to say over that, because, you know, it's still a World Series that they cheated their way to, but it is one of the worst teams you could possibly see in front of you, because just in a playoff series, they know what to do. Even their younger nucleus, they know what to do in big games. Like, they don't have Maldonado anymore, but Yannier Diaz is still there doing his job. Again, John Singleton and McCormick, and they have these pieces that just all fit and work together. It is the elevated version of what Cleveland and Milwaukee are. because it's kind of, yeah, it's not one superstar taking over, but it's Yordan Alvarez to Kyle Tucker to Bregman to Altuve to, you can still throw Pena in there, Yanier Diaz. It is a committee, but their committee is a lot higher end than the other teams. Like, until they ran into Texas last year, and Texas not being in this race, barring a miracle, which it just seems like, and especially in the wild card, it's Kansas City, it's Minnesota, it's whichever Yankee, Orioles, whoever doesn't win the division. And then, like, Boston is hanging around, but I don't know if they're overtaking either of those other two. So, like, Houston not having to see Texas is actually a huge advantage, because that's one of the only teams that could say, we got you. We beat you. At least of the teams that are contending in this. Got a Leiter, Cody Bellinger, Alex Verdugo, Abrams, Dane Myers, that is 242 of 250. Abbott, Johnny DeLuca, Trey Turner, Pete Alonso, Eovaldi, Starling Marte, Henry Davis, Summertime in the Park, Aaron Judge, Sepia Seager, Jackson Holiday, Aliko Williams, Willie Adames, Drew Rom, Jason Dominguez, Bo Bichette, Sepia, Masataka Yoshida, Jeff McNeil, there's Pena, Dane Myers. Dane Myers here in these next five. That is 131 of 150. Blu-ray Wave. Trying to find the Baroa autos. Let's see if we can find them. Got Wicks, Curtis Mead, Sepia Marlowe, Keckering, Tatis Jr., Luca Baker, Steven Cruz, Drew Millis, Sepia, Yordan Alvarez with the Strokes. Let's do it. Let's do it, Chris. Lane Thomas. We got Adolis Garcia, Samad Taylor, Adley Rutschman, Sepia Volpe, Buxton. We got Drew Millis. That is 194 of 275 for Drew Millis. Bryce Jarvis Pink, Yoendrys Gomez, Jackson Chourio, Lindor, Bryce Harper. We got Lawler, Kirilloff, Mackenzie Gore, Jared Triolo, Alech Bobby Wood Jr., Sepia Aaron Judge, Yanier Cano, Reese Olson, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Sepia Rizzo, Riley Green, Robbie Ray, Evan Carter, Tristan Casas, Francisco Alvarez, and Johnny DeLuca. These next five. I don't know if I could do it for all five, but Arizona Diamondbacks, after last season making the World Series, pretty miraculous run. Ketel Marte on one of the craziest hitting streaks we'll ever see, especially come playoff time. They were just again, Texas Rangers will just be known in my head always as the buzzsaw. They were just so much better than anyone. Need some more gunner hits, Donald? Let's do it. Well, let's get some more gunner. Some huge gunner. I was thinking more, you said huge. Let's do it. After the Diamondbacks come back, Corbin Carroll, they're contending for a playoff spot during a Corbin Carroll sophomore slump, and it's not like, I don't know who's really taken over that offense. Again, the pitching will still be there, and again, the irony of 1 year pedigree is kind of enough in this season, at least at this point. If there's something drastic that happens that kind of changes our minds, we kind of have to go off last year in the playoffs, not necessarily for everything, but at least they have playoff experience. They went into Milwaukee, beat the Brewers, and back-to-back games they beat the Dodgers, they beat the Phillies. They ran through good teams to make it to the World Series. Coming up short, but I don't know how many teams were beating that Ranger team. Even with no Adolis Garcia and Max Scherzer for the back half of the World Series, the team was on fire. Marcus Semien wasn't really playing that well, but Corey Seager obviously had a huge home run in, was that game 1 or game 2 in Texas? It's definitely not inconceivable that the Diamondbacks could make it back, but again, pedigree might not be the right word, just experience from last year. And does Corbin Carroll put it together come playoff time? Gurriel Jr., they got Jock, they have these guys, Gurriel Jr., Moreno, it's a lot of their team from last year. Christian Walker, added Eugenio Suarez, they've made moves to get marginally better. Their X factor is probably, in my mind, is Christian Walker. Because Christian Walker could really, I don't want to say make or break, but could more make. Young there, Chris. Looking for Josh Young. Let's do it. Yeah, the Diamondbacks are kind of, and they're going to run into, is the best case scenario the Brewers, and the worst case scenario the Padres? Is it the Braves that you want to see? Is it the Mets? Probably would be the Mets at that point, but again, in that wild card, they're all in this realm where they're just a step behind on both sides. This could just expand to the league. There's a noticeable gap, and honestly, I would say there's a gap between 3 teams. 3 teams are at the top. I'll talk about that. I guess in my mind, I thought of them as the big 4. Really, it's a big 3, and the 4th one is just kind of hanging on for dear life, and it's the team that I know best, so it'll be probably the most insight that you'll get out of all these teams, because it's kind of just, again, seeing from afar, especially the West Coast teams. You don't watch as many West Coast games as you should on the East Coast because they're late and sleep is sometimes important. But you're just sometimes flipping channels and you see Dodgers Mariners, so you check that out. You see Diamondbacks Padres, and I probably at the time didn't realize the significance of a series like that or a game like that, because it is so likely that they're gonna see each other again. Absolutely, and I think I've said it, and I keep thinking it, that the next 6 weeks are going to mean everything. Not even just you could say positioning and seeding, but it's really just going to be paying attention to who's hot at the right time. Like, the Yankees peaked very early in this season. They're kind of just holding on for dear life. Like, the game last night against Cleveland just became a dumpster fire by the 12th inning. But it's open, and that's fun. That's what makes these 6 weeks, and it's going to coincide with football starting at the same time, like in that same realm, that you are going to learn a lot about these teams. It's going to mean a lot. Got Tristan Gray, Mookie Betts, George Springer. Got Jose Tena, Jared Triolo, Brandon Walter, Corbin Carroll, Future Stars, Jordan Walker, Alex Verdugo, Wade Meckler, Future Stars, Dustin Steele, Sepia, Corbin Burns, Trey Cabbage, Aaron Nola, Austin Wells, Dominic Canzone, Jordan Wicks, Tovar, Reese Olson, Starling Marte, Corbin Carroll, All Etch, Manny Machado, Corbin Burns, Gray Kessinger, Future Stars, Christopher Morel, Sepia, Josh Young, Yandy Diaz, Cal O'Reilly, David Hamilton, Ryan Keckering, Xander Bogaerts, Aaron Judge with the strokes, Caminero, Robbie Ray, Bo Bichette, Zach Remillard, Pete Alonso, Carlos Correa, Ronald Acuna Jr., Ellie, All Etch Rookie Rush, Pete Crow Armstrong. I got another Pete Crow with the pink, Justin Martinez. Yuri Perez, Corbin Burns, Brett Beatty, Mason Wynn, Masataka Yoshida, Max Scherzer, Cade Marlowe, JJ Bleday, Jackson Rutledge, Josh Young, Aaron Nola with the sepia, Lucan Baker, Mookie Betts, Brandon Walter, Pete Crow, Manny Machado, Matt Olson, and Tyler Glasnow. Alright, the next five we'll go with the Bronx Bombers. Let's check the garbage. And I do, as much as I want to say it's a big four, it's a big three. And the Yankees are the team on the outside looking in. Again, they're going to be battling the Orioles for the division because they had such a good start to the year. It almost feels like, not that it doesn't matter, but that they kind of gave themselves some leeway, as much as they shouldn't have. Obviously, the Jazz elbow, I don't know if that was fluff. Wanted to come back the next day, short IL stint. Oh, maybe it's just paranoia, but it's not that it feels like something more, but it's just still worrisome in my mind. Judge and Soto are obviously incredible. Judge is the front runner for MVP for a reason. Soto, they haven't really done the contract stuff because the team hasn't been good, so it's kind of almost overshadowed that. They're just, not that they haven't been good. They're battling for the best record in the league and a division title, but they've been so bad recently that it's just that, like, no one's talking about Clay Holmes. Blown 10 saves this year, most in the majors, and they don't really have anyone that could take over the closer spot. Like, Mark Leiter came in and he had at least good start with the Yankees. Like, pitched like hours after being traded, and it is just a team that, you know, maybe it's a good thing they've gone through the cold stretch, but are they going to be able to, you know, turn up the heat in the next 6 weeks? Because this is getting to the time where you got to get hot. It's kind of still in that, you know, it's still August, so you kind of have that, I don't want to say excuse, but you still have some leeway with fans that they'll still kind of let you go for now. But it's not going to be for that much longer. Before fans really start to get restless and concerned, and, you know, as since he's come back, I don't think health is necessarily the problem with him. He's just so, like, hot or cold. Like, it is, like, nothing will ever be the Garrett Cole we saw in Houston. Like, he was just a different beast there. But Cole, Luis Gil had such a, like, hot start that he's kind of got tagged up a bit since. And that's just a growing concern. There was the Nestor Cortez trade rumors. And, like, we're not even talking about the bats because it's just such a big problem. Like, Jazz came in, had a pretty hot start. Verdugo is allergic, apparently, to his batting gloves or tattoos, one of the two, which both of them, he either has a lot of tattoos, or he's wearing batting gloves every day. So, like, if he's still hitting this well while being allergic to batting gloves, I think that's pretty crazy. But yeah, Gil, Cortez, Rodon, Stroman, like, it is by no means the strongest rotation, but it's manageable. It's possible that they'll be fine. I think the bullpen is kind of like, if it's Eniel De Los Santos and Leiter and Marinaccio, like, they do kind of just have these, I don't want to say fill-in guys, but they don't have the high-end bullpen like they did in the past. Especially Yankee fans call Clay Holmes Cardiac Clay for a reason, and it's because he's kind of taken on that Craig Kimbrell role in baseball of, if this guy's coming in the game, it's going to be close. So yeah, that's why, again, even if they win the division, they could get a bye. I just think they're probably going to have to run into a hot team then. I think it would be better for them. They lose in the wild card, still disappointing and whatever, but it would be better to get that momentum and, you know, not earn your way, because it's still a playoff spot, but kind of earn the division series spot. Like, that's kind of what the team needs. And, you know, Dominguez getting a shot. Gleyber Torres and LeMahieu. I was saying it's someone here. One of them should be in the lineup, not both. But then also, you know, if DJ's playing first, or, you know, Rizzo. LeMahieu, to be fair, his bat is nowhere near what it once was, but he's pretty versatile. So he can play third base. He's not great. He plays second. That was his natural position. He can play first when you need him to, but the ideal Yankee lineup has one of Gleyber Torres and DJ LeMahieu, not both of them. And honestly, in my mind, I would want LeMahieu in there, and I don't really have a full explanation reason why, but I think I just trust him more than Gleyber Torres. I feel like Gleyber Torres is always the last at bat in a season for the Yankees. Like, I can just picture the wild card loss to Boston. He was the last guy. I'm pretty sure one of those Houston, I mean, there's too many Houston series to count. But yeah, Gleyber Torres, and it's just kind of established that he's not the greatest teammate for the new guy walking in and you go, I play second base. That's my position. Like, at least just lie. Lie to us. Pretend that that you would switch if you were asked. So that's my Yankee thoughts. Tovar, Brian Reynolds, McClanahan, Jackson Holiday with the pink, Owen White, Sepia McCutcheon, Summertime in the Park for Acuna, some color coming up, Contreras. Then we got a Grant Hartwig. That is a 132 of 199 on the Aqua. Kyle Harrison, Gunner, Sepia Dolis, Teoscar. All edge rookie rush for Curtis Mead, Evan Carter, Jackson Rutledge, Paul Goldschmidt, Ronald Acuna Jr., Blake Snell, Trey Turner, Andrew Sal Frank, Young-Hoo Lee, Heston Kierstead, Brandon Nimmo, Carlos Correa. All edge rookie rush. That is a 35 of 99. Jason Dominguez. There we go. All edge rookie rush. The numbered there for Dominguez. There we go. Let's get that up on our wall. There we go. Congrats to the Dominguez spot. We got Shanuel, Horowitz, Pete Alonso, we got Juan Soto, Brett Beatty, Royce Lewis, Luis Matos, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Brian Hayes, we got Juan Soto, Everson Pereira with the blue auto. That is 21 of 150 for Everson Pereira. We got Kowser, William Abreu, Pete Crow, Austin Riley, All Etch, Brian Hayes. We got a Zach Neto here, gold array wave. That is an 18 of 50. There for Zach Neto. We got Christian Encarnacion Strand, Vladdy All Etch, Yu Darvish Sepia. Got Rizzo, Schwarber, Tristan Gray, Colt Keith, JT Realmuto, Summertime in the Park for Trout, Jorge Soler, George Springer, and Mason Wynn. Here we go, we're into the big three. Gonna start with the Dodgers out of the big three. I mean, again, it's not gonna be rocket science with the Dodgers. They have superstars. They have Ohtani, Betts, Freddie Freeman. Pitching, they still have Kershaw. Like it's again, come playoff time, is it the same? I mean, he is also coming back. Pitching is probably the biggest question mark, but even then, it's still like that's kind of where they fill in the gaps, where it's just like, oh, who's coming up? Oh, before it was like Bueller and Gonsolin, like Bobby Miller. They kind of just always have the arms. Joe Kelly is just gonna hang on forever. Blake Trinan, Evan Phillips, Gratterall, like they just do have arms. Like they just always seem to have them. Alex Vesia, it is like pieces of it. Kind of, it seems like everything is just gonna live or die by their bats, and it's not a bad bet on their part, because they have the superstars, they have the depth, they kind of have everything you would want in a playoff World Series run lineup. Because you have guys that can take over. I would probably limit that to Betts and Ohtani more than Freddie Freeman. But then you still have like Will Smith, Max Muncy played the other night. Teoscar Hernandez was an all-star. He won the Derby. Does it really mean that much? Probably not, but it's still an accomplishment that no one else has this year. So there is something to his power and endurance. And then they did just kind of keep throwing pieces. Like I know Amed Rosario got DFA'd. They got like Tommy Edman and Kevin Kiermaier and who's the other one? Gavin Biggio. Like they did just kind of start throwing stuff at pieces just to have an immense amount of depth, because Jason Hayward and James Outman and Kike, Mookie Betts came back to the outfield. Got Miguel Rojas. Like it does feel like this is as balanced of a team. Well, maybe not balanced because it is so Mookie and Ohtani, like that is kind of where it starts and finishes. But yeah, the Dodgers are just dangerous. It's not going to be complicated. If you pick them to win the World Series at the beginning of the year, no one's shocked. People are probably a little more surprised of how they kind of like the Yankees. They had one really good month and kind of, I don't want to say coasted off of that, but it's definitely not the dominant 110 plus win team that we thought we were going to get. And I think it just, again, comes back to the pitching, comes back to the staff. I think Dave Roberts is fine. I haven't really talked about any other managers. Dave Roberts is fine. I think he's not really going to win them games necessarily, but I also don't really think he's going to lose them either. He kind of sits in that, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it kind of just sits in the middle. So yeah, that's kind of the Dodgers. Like it's in a nutshell. That the superstars need to perform if they're gonna win, and we've kind of seen it since they won the World Series that they have struggled with that. And it's not like Ohtani is bursting with experience. But we also get to finally see him in these big games. It is too bad that we're not going to see him pitching. Like, that would have been a really cool touch. I honestly don't even know. I don't want to say if he is, but if he should. Like, I guess maybe they are paying him that much money because he can do both and do both at such a high level. But it is just such a risk for your arm. And really, where else is he playing in the lineup? Like, I remember that was kind of spring training of Dave Roberts almost like implying he might play the field. But really, what's the point of risking him like that? It's not like I always think of, and I've heard the broadcast talk about this, is Aaron Judge, of like when he is DHing, he's a little like, not disassociated, but you're less in the game. And I think Vlad Guerrero Jr. with the Blue Jays, he's the same way. Like, if those guys aren't out on the field, they're kind of less engaged. But Ohtani, you could see him around the dugout. Like, he's not... He's engaged all the time. And some guys just need that kind of extra, routine or something like that to be like, oh, I'm going to play defense, then I'm going to hit. Like, some people need both. And for Ohtani, it's, I'm going to start every 5th day and hit. Like, it's kind of his I was about to say reputation, his, routine. At least what he was used to since coming to the majors. So it kind of switches this year, and he's still the front runner for MVP. Like, he's still just that dominant, even if he's not doing, if you want to say, half of what he's good at. But he's still great at the other half. We got 2 more sets left to go through. Freddie Freeman, Teoscar with the Sepia, Mountcastle, Joe Boyle, Noel B. Marte, Blake Snell, Cole All-Etch, Perdomo, Joe Musgrove, Spears, Sepia McClanahan, Jeremy Pena, Francisco Alvarez, and Victor Vodnik with the auto that is 54 of 150. Gavin Williams, Trey Turner, Wilson Contreras, J-Rom All-Etch, Elias Diaz. Number there, Brian Wu, 152 of 199, the Aqua Ray Wave. We got Geloff, Devers All-Etch, Stanton Sepia, Luis Castillo, AJ Smith-Shawver, Levis Basabe, Royce Lewis. Summertime in the Park for Jackson Holiday. Willier Abreu, Ryan Noda, Kyle Raleigh, Jordan Westberg, Dansby All-Etch, Sandy, Canzone, Garrett Cole, Johanna Rojas, Ronnie Mauricio, Bryce Terang Sepia, Future Stars Yanir Diaz, Wade Meckler, Victor Scott, Christian Yelich, Jordan Balazovic, Clayton Kershaw, All-Etch, Pepio, got Nick Lofton, Gunnar Henderson, we got Jose Rodriguez, J.P. Crawford, Anthony Volpe, Kodai Senga, Xander Bogaerts, and Jose Fermin. We got our second last 5 here. Second last 5, we're going to Maryland, Baltimore, the Orioles. Obviously last year got a taste, we'll call it, of playoff experience. Again, it was the buzzsaw. It was the Texas Rangers, who pretty well dismantled them. That was not a very close series. But I've been going back and forth about what that experience meant. And again, that's the next 6 weeks, because at least the reporters are going to be smart and should be asking them as playoff time is coming up, what did that mean, making the playoffs last year and getting at least in those games. You know, they made some, not super crazy moves. They picked up a couple of Phillies pitchers who were in that playoff run, in that World Series run 2 years ago. Sir Anthony Dominguez and Gregory Soto. Still have Kimbrel. Their rotation is still good. Traded Austin Hayes, kind of one of the OGs of the team. But it all, like, for them, it's all about the youth and what that youth is. Like, what can it grow to? They brought Jackson Holiday back up, and he's kind of stepped into the MLB again, and looks like the prospect we thought he was, unlike earlier this year. But is that youth, is that going to be, I don't know, like a good thing come playoff time? Because, you know, some of those guys got that experience, but you're still looking at, I know Kierstead was sent down, but Kowser and Westberg and Holiday, like, they do have, that is a young trio, and it's not like Gunnar and Adley Rutschman are, you know, old geezers. They've played those few playoff games last year. You know, what is this team's potential? Like, if everything's put together, they could be winning the World Series. It's why they are being talked about this late in the break, is because that potential is there. But it's also just, what if they just fall flat on their face? I don't want to say again, because that it would discredit that Texas team and how good of an effort it took from even Houston to put up that fight. But for Baltimore, you know, again, yeah, Gunnar, Holiday, Rutschman, they still got Mountcastle, they still got Cedric Mullins, they picked up Eloy Jimenez, even though I thought, I don't know, I guess I was thinking maybe why not take that bigger swing and go for Luis Robert. I can't say they were wrong for not going for him, but it would have looked a little bit more like we think we can win the World Series. Unless it's just, it could, again, that's the flip side. It could be the internal confidence of the team, but the pieces are there, and the pitching is good. It's not like it's blowing anyone out of the water. I just see Orioles Twitter talking about Craig Kimbrell, and basically every team besides Atlanta that has had the same experience with Craig Kimbrell. And him and Clay Holmes have to face off in a playoff game. Just know that game's going to go, it's going to keep going. Because those two guys just, I don't want to say they don't close out games, but they have their struggles, that's for sure. But for Baltimore's sake, I hope that playoff experience does mean something and did mean something to them last year, because it clearly is gonna mean something. It's gonna have an impact on them, and it'll be repeated over and over again. The next 6 weeks are going to be telling. It's how teams are going to not only separate themselves and where they're going to be playing playoff games, but this is the time to get hot. Get hot now, and you know, maybe it's a World Series run. Who would be absolutely shocked if the Orioles won the World Series? I don't think anyone would be, but even though I just don't think there's, besides the Astros, I just don't think there's a better team in the AL. I think the Orioles are the best team in the AL, but it always comes back to the Astros of, like, can the young team take down the old, I don't want to say sleeping giants, but take down the elder statesmen, the experience? Can that youth and limited experience kind of just guide them? And I hope it does. I hope to see a deep playoff run. I hope to see the Orioles and Astros face off. The Orioles and the Yankees and the Astros. Kind of all those, like one of those teams. If all the top seeds are winning, one of those teams is going to get lucky and only has to play one of those teams, one of the three, and not two, or I guess of the other two. But I find it hard to believe that two of those three teams aren't in the LCS, unless it is a miracle, not miracle, but like a crazy Cleveland run. I can't really see it being Kansas City or Minnesota, but I guess crazier things have happened. go. Second last group in here. Jared Jones, Soto, Taj Bradley, Sepia, McLean. We got Chris Murphy, 81 of 199 for Chris Murphy. Willier Abreu, Canario, Millis, Walker, Moreno, Swanson, McCutcheon, Steven Cruz, Junior Caminero, Sepia for Fernando Tatis Jr. Jacob Amaya, Yastrzemski. We got the light board for Jared Triolo. We'll go Triolo light board. Nice one there for the Triolo spot. David Schneider with the pink back-to-back Schneiders. Geloff, Lane Thomas, Vladdy Jr., Edward Julien, J.P. Crawford, J.P. Martinez, Julio Rodriguez, Sepia Lamont Wade Jr., and Heimer Candelario. Lawrence Butler, George Springer, Shota Imanaga, Bryce Harper, Cody Bellinger, Josh Hader, Yuentries Gomez, Mookie All-Etch, Willie Adames, Jung-Hoo Lee. And we got a Masataka Yoshida. That is 335 of 350 for Yoshida. The pink sparkles. We got Dominguez, Lindor, McNeil. Summertime in the Park for Ellie. Austin Riley. With the blue Ray Wave for Jacob Lopez. That is 110 of 150. Soderstrom, Vlad Jr., Soto Sepia, Marcus Semien, Joe Boyle. Gold for Ryan Mountcastle. That is a 45 of 50 for Mountcastle. We've got Jacob Amaya, Gavin Williams, Brian Hayes, a little more color coming at the end. Cisco Alvarez, Nolan Gorman, and we got a Nico Horner. That is 30 of 99 for Nico Horner, the green Ray Wave. We've got Isaiah Campbell with the pink. Final 5 here. It's going to be about who I believe is winning the World Series, and that is the Philadelphia Phillies. Getting a poke holes in everyone. It's easy to at this point. No one's really that close. It's a lot of, last year they lose to the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks were on such a great run. Not that they never looked close in that series, but it kind of seemed like the Diamondbacks were in control for the most part. The Phillies, it's the same cast. It's Harper, Schwarber, Turner, Castellanos. On the bump, it's Wheeler and Nola and Ranger Suarez. Jeff Hoffman has really developed. They traded Dominguez and Soto, which I guess kind of shows where they are with them, just that they can survive without those two. Still got Jose Alvarado. They still got, not crazy, incredible, oh my god, blow away. Like, I would say the bullpen is probably where my questions come up. Matt Strahm is still in there. They have 3 starters, which I think is pretty important come playoff time, is to have at least 3. And I mean, 3, good, dangerous pitchers. And yeah, it'll go a lot. It's like the Diamondbacks of last year. They were the surprise team before. Now they're not surprising anyone. I think I would go Phillies Orioles, and I would take the Phillies. I think that's just where my mind goes. Even though the smart is really to pick the Astros and then kind of sprinkle around the other NL teams. But yeah, for me it's Phillies Orioles. I've kind of been on it for a few weeks, at least. I haven't talked about it, but just kind of my thought where I see it. And it also becomes fun because then you have Soto, Dominguez, and Austin Hayes, who all could technically win a ring either way. Yeah, Phillies Orioles. I think that's where I end up because it's so wide open, and the youth, betting on the youth is terrifying of the Orioles, but I think it's the most fun outcome. Dodgers Orioles would also be pretty cool. I mean, by the time you get to that point, no World Series matchup's going to be bad. It's going to be all teams, firing on all cylinders. What about you, Chris? Where do you lean on that one? You agree with me? You got someone else in mind? I'd love to hear it because it is so open and there's no matchup that seems bad or unrealistic unless you're going Mets. I don't know. Let's go try Mets Red Sox. It's the ultimate Yankee hater pick. I know you do like the Padres. Is that the O's Padres? There you go. The Manny Machado World Series. Not only is he in it, but probably weird for him to be back. I mean, I know it's been quite a few years since he was an Oriole, but had that pit stop in LA. O's Padres. It is the sleeper. I like it. It's also just not fun to go I think it's going to be Astros, Dodgers. We've seen that before. Don't need to necessarily see it again. Unless those are the 2 best teams, then it's the World Series we get. Still be a good, entertaining one. They got a rivalry, a history. Joe Kelly. Big old Astros hater. If anyone ever complains about a World Series matchup, unless something, egregious happens, then it's the 2 best teams at the time, and that's what you want to see. Last few packs of the break. Let's do it. Last box Magic. Sal Frank, Julio, Francisco Alvarez, Meneses, auto for Lyon Richardson. Here we go, Lyon Richardson auto. Nick Gonzalez, Andy Rodriguez, JJ Bleday, Randy All-Etch, Varsho, Kyber Ruiz, Aliko Williams, Casey Schmidt, Brian Wu, Jason Green there, Shohei Ohtani, Wyatt Langford, Nick Castellanos, and we've got Ichiro with the Ultra Violet All-Stars. Nice one there for the Ichiro spot. I don't think I've seen his Ultra Violet All-Star yet. Nice hit there. Hartwig, Torres, Salvador Perez, Patrick Bailey, Junior Caminero, Casey Schmidt, Justin Martinez, Logan Webb, Jack Flaherty, that is 62 of 99 for Flaherty. Trey Cabbage, Connor Phillips, Cal Raleigh, Acuna Jr., Arias, O'Neal Cruz, Austin Wells, Julio All-Etch, Sepia Scherzer, Kierstead, Contreras, Parker Meadows, Lawrence Butler, Brandon Lau, Summertime in the Park for Julio, Nathaniel Lau, Patrick Bailey, Jacob Young, Future Stars, Kodai Senga, and the last few here, we got Schwarber with the Sepia, Victor Scott, Heston Kierstead auto. There we go. Congrats to the Kierstead spot on the base auto. Luciano, Vine, Soler, All-Etch Corey Seager, J-Rod, Vlad Jr., and Sal Frelick with the pink to complete the break. Alright, let's do a recap. Numbered hits and autos. We got Jack Flaherty to 99, Nico Horner to 99, Ryan Mountcastle to 50, Jacob Lopez to 150, Yoshida to 350, Chris Murphy to 199, Brian Wu to 199, Zach Neto to 50, Grant Hartwig to 199, Drew Millis to 275, Dane Myers to 150, Dane Myers to 250, Noel Marte to 275, To our autos, we've got Heston Kierstead, Lyon Richardson, Victor Vodnik to 150, Everson Pereira to 150, and Isaiah Campbell to 150. On our back wall, we've got Jared Triolo with the light board. We've got Ichiro with the Ultra Violet All-Stars. And lastly, we've got All-Etch Rookie Rush Jason Dominguez. That is a 36 of 99 All-Etch Rookie Rush. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. And that will wrap us up here for the 2024 Topps Chrome Baseball Value. See you next time, Chris. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you for the chat keeping us going. If you're going to join us for later breaks, we will see you then. If not, take care.